Hey everyone, so I just wanted to talk about a new deep research agent that I've been making. It's come a really long ways. It's not quite finished yet, but it's getting there. What it's going to do is take a keyword that you search, build a bunch of questions around that keyword, then answer them with the results scraped from Google. So I'm just going to go ahead and run an example search. So Sean Strickland's last UFC fight. So this is a event that happened outside of the latest training data from this LM, which is DeepSeek 3.1 that I'm using. So what the uh, agent here is going to do is come up with 10 questions that it thinks will answer the overall intent and goal of the query that the user researched. Then this query will be searched on Google, and the URLs will be scraped there. It's collected from an API endpoint that I'm using with dataforseo.com. So it's not totally free, but it's really, really cheap. It's like hundreds of a cent per search, and you get a lot of data from it. You could get up to 100 URLs of data if you wanted from like one search. So it's going through, and you can tell on the side here that now that it's scraped, each agent is processing each URL, and it's going to save all that information into a database file on the right here in the folder as a .db file, since SQL is a very well-structured format for LLMs to read off of and answer to. So we see all the direct answer lost in a unanimous decision, which is right. So I'm just going to open up Chrome here to verify those results because we never want to trust anything right away. UFC or latest. Here, I'm just going to grab this keyword exactly so we know we don't make any mistakes. And you can see Sean Strickland, he lost to Drusius Duplessis. So it's getting exact live data, and it's citing all the sources directly to the number. I'll be able to show you once this is done and it saves the full report, because that's the main thing, is having this saved directly on your computer so you could do things like automate future actions with it. So now the report's generated down here, and it's all in Markdown because that's just a really simple way to print out formatting from a LLM basically. So we're going to go to a Markdown viewer, and you have everything here. So it's even linked specifically to the right URLs, not guessing at them and not speculating on them. Everything is perfect since it's drawing it right from the reg data. So there's a couple different characters that aren't being properly done, but I'm still working on that, so don't worry about it. So we have all the correct info. We have supporting decisions, unanimous decision loss. There's a key moment where he broke his nose in the 4th round. It has everything. And with this being done the way I did it, you can actually take the content strategy agent, which is the one that asks the questions. And so I'm basically telling it that it's a research analysis. And here are 10 research questions. Sorry. I'm just going to close that. 10 research questions that are similar to what you should be thinking when you ask the questions. So like, what are the key facts? What are the main components? And all these questions are asked within the context of the search intent. So now if we go to the, and the URL scraper, the URL collector collects it all from data for SEO, and the URL scraper scrapes it all the SEO related info, H1s, H2s, H3s, Ps, lists, unordered lists, quotes, and then let me just grab the report generator here. And that one actually answers the report. So you can see that we go back to the database file, which is here. There we go. And so it has key questions and findings, and there's a couple different sections there. There's sources, and they're all listed properly like I had showed earlier. And it even summarizes the sources. So most sources frame the site as a clear victory. So basically what it's doing is collecting all the data from 10 different URLs and reading the URLs and figuring out what the best answer to given is based on the information strictly in the URLs. So it even has structured output for sorting the source in the URL, lists the sources that are directly from the DB, and then it has rules for each question, and then it has all the questions that it should answer here. So it's very smart and it's very contextual. So to prove that it's going to be different, so you can see here, those are the questions for the Sean Strickland fight. But if we go and we answer a different question with a different intent, those questions will all be different. So if we say new search, we can say something completely different, like who is the current president in 2025? So this is a tough question because it knows that Donald Trump was the president before Joe Biden. So if you tell it that Trump is the president now, it might not think, like, just tell the original LLM that the Trump is president now. It might not realize it because, he went from Trump to Biden back to Trump, which doesn't typically happen in American politics. So we're going to say who's the current president. So this way it has to look at all these questions into the content that was scraped and answer them in context of the new question with all up-to-date info, which we proved in the last search should be pretty easily doable. And the platform that I'm using for this is called OpenRouter. So OpenRouter is just a hub to access pretty much any LLMs that I would need. And you can see the amounts being used here for dollars or cents in USD is very, very small. DeepSeek is incredibly efficient for pricing on the model. And if you see in my cost for the months, it was only really expensive when I went to Claude for like one time, or OpenAI, and then so that's why I don't use OpenAI or Claude, because they're good for a lot of things like TypeScript programming and a few of like the more fancier apps. But as long as you can get away with smaller models or much cheaper models like DeepSeek, I would highly recommend it because you're not really missing out on anything. And with DeepSeek version 3.1, DeepSeek's latest model, it has been absolutely amazing. And I'm excited to use the Meta Llama new model with the 10 million context token window, because that'll be huge for coding. But yeah, sorry, it's sometimes, depending, like I said, on the info that was scraped, agents can take a little bit longer to process the info because you can't decide how much text is available on the site. So it's, but in my opinion, giving roughly this much information is really good and will answer pretty much everything you need to know about it. And if you didn't get the answer you're looking for, you probably didn't get the LLM probably misunderstood the intent of your question, basically. And while this is going, I'm going to show you if we go into the agents, the content strategy I mentioned was all these questions, you could format them to whatever you want. So if you wanted it to generate some kind of a stock financial report, you could do that, because I did that with a bunch of stocks earlier. You can do it with Bitcoin, any tradable asset. You could do like book reports or SEO reports or any kind of reporting format that you want with live data. So now it's coming out again, and you can see Donald J. Trump is the 47th president in 2025, and it's listing all the sources. And J.D. Vance was the vice president, and everything's just going exactly as it should. It's nice because I formatted it to give it a direct answer, as well as like key points around it. So if you just want to read it without doing anything, I'll get rid of you, without anything fancy, it's going to just give you the direct answer. It's straight to the point. So we're going to open up this file again, and we're going to go back to the Markdown viewer. And here you go. The direct answer is Donald J. Trump is the 47th president. And 2024 presidential election against Kamala Harris, and Vice President James David Vance, JD, is the vice president. So it even gets like voting, like the electoral votes and any level of data you'd want based on the results you made. So this is actually can be available or will be available on my GitHub. I'll just go to send that now. So I'll link it in the YouTube description below. And all you need is an OpenRouter model to use with a key, API key, and some money behind it, as well as this will be the only tricky one for some people. I only have a data for SEO API key using it. There is a trial of $1, which will actually get you a lot of searches, and you don't need to do anything super techy. You just need to get the API key. But there is a requirement of you needing a work email, so not Google email. I am planning to make a non-data for SEO solution using Selenium. I just haven't got there yet because I've been working on all the other stuff. So I'm going to be working on that as a separate free option that might be slightly slower, basically. So if you find this information, give me a comment below depending on whatever platform this is on. And thanks for watching.